How are you?
Good. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Before we get going on everything, so I want to talk about this. The Shaky Knees Festival in Atlanta, Georgia just announced their lineup. It's one of these gigantic multi-day festivals. A lot of tents.
Yeah.
60,000 people. And you guys are at the top of the bill, headlining the Saturday night. There's your band, Cage the Elephant.
Yeah.
When you start a band, is it something you can even imagine happening, or was this like a goal?
I don't think that it was at the forefront of our minds. As things develop, you obviously want to get to that place someday. It might not be the main goal or drive behind everything, but it's definitely something you want to do.
Are you an ambitious guy? Are you doing like lower spots in the bill and going, oh God, I want to...
Why isn't our name bigger on this poster?
Well, not that, but like, God, I hope someday I get...
Yeah, of course, for sure. I mean, there's certain things you want to get to the top of your field, whatever that means to you. I mean, that might be in regards to creative depth or performing certain slots or whatever.
What did it mean when you started? Like, what did success mean?
I think that it's been pretty consistent. I think our main drive is to continue to dive deeper into the process. And
from the beginning, you just wanted to make...
Well, yeah. Well, I think from the very beginning, we wanted to get out of Kentucky,
right?
As far away.
You wanted to stop plumbing.
Yeah, but as soon as right around the record Melophobia, we had a breakthrough and realized that you could actually get what you wanted in the studio. And ever since then, it's been to continuously unearth more and more and more of the real things within our music and, creative depth.
You could get what you wanted in a studio, meaning like the stuff you were hearing in your head.
Yeah, you could fully realize the vision that you had. Or I think before that, we thought that you just went in and you did your best and not necessarily did what you were told, but it seemed to be a very fast process early on. And, as we did more things, paying more attention to the detail, naturally got more of what we wanted. And you also learn what you want too.
Yeah.
I guess the sincerity of the material comes first, and that's what really sets the tone for the authenticity of what you're doing.
Take me through these festival sets, because they're different than playing a club, even playing like an arena, because you got concentrated time. People kind of been out there all day. Do you approach those shows differently from a performing standpoint?
Maybe subconsciously, knowing that some of the audience members have never heard of you before. You always have that comfort when you're playing your own shows that most of the people in the audience are pretty familiar and there because they want to see you. So there's definitely the enjoyment of winning over new people or that kind of thing. I think also just the magnitude of the audiences probably has an impact on you that maybe isn't something that you have going into the show, but definitely develops as the performance is going on.
I can't imagine how challenging it is because, when you play a club, you can kind of see everybody in front of you. But I know people who have played, their bands start doing pretty well, and they have to learn how to adjust their performance a little bit because they know that they're also going to be on video screens, because they know that they're also going to be there might be 10,000 people out there as opposed to 600 people, and they have to change what they do a little bit. Can you relate to that at all?
Not at this point. Maybe I should, though. I don't know.
Here's a little tip. Yeah.
You look different on camera, really. No, I don't think so. I recently have been diving into other areas of performance arts, just trying to be more present. I think we struggled in the same way that a lot of performers do early on, is then you feel like this need to project a certain sentiment or whatever. So it's leaning into the emotional colors of whatever the song is, or I don't know, I suppose an actor might have the same kind of struggle when they're reading a script or whatever.
To really embody and physically show the message of the song or the lyrics of the song.
And then you realize more and more that that's just bad acting. So you want to live in the performance and just be present. And so been moving in that direction for sure, more and more.
But it's a physical toll it must take on you. I mean, I've seen the shows, and it's you give so much of yourself. I mean, for people who haven't seen it, you're running around, you're jumping into the crowd, it must be physically demanding.
Yeah, it has that as well. Thankfully, that hasn't caught up with me yet. Yeah. Only when I've done things that were foolish, like jumping off of 3-story balconies and stuff like that in the past.
Is that the most foolish thing you've done on stage?
Probably. It's not the most foolish moment. Actually, our first tour ever was with the Queens of the Stone Age, and it was here in Toronto, I think, that it kicked off. Because the only thing we had going for us at the time, we had a publishing deal through a Canadian publishing company. And so they thought that we were Canadian. So they're like, we need a local act. Cage the Elephant, they said. Yeah. So they took us on tour, and the guys are just kind of making some noise to get the audience ready. Of course, no one knows us. Yeah. And I ran out pretty ambitious to take the crowd, and just jumped before even singing a note. And as I'm in the air, I'm looking down, and I see 2 red cups in every person's hand. Oh, no. Yeah, not knowing that they gave out 2 free beers to every single audience member. So, yeah, the sea of red cups parted, I guess.
Did you get caught?
No.
No, you hit the ground?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the risk, hey?
Yeah, so hard that I think my shoe flew off or something.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and on that same tour, it was like laundry day, so I was going commando, and I had this little hole that was wearing in the crotch of one of the pants that I was wearing, and so I climbed up on a speaker stack, and I think 2 songs in, my pants turned into chaps.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's a good debut gig
in
Toronto.
Exactly,
yeah, for the local act. He said, don't blame me, I'm Canadian.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess the adrenaline takes... I was about to ask if you're ever afraid when you jump off a 3-story balcony, but I guess your adrenaline takes over and you don't feel that fear.
I don't even know where the trust comes from, but I guess somewhere.
I want to talk about maybe not as easy stuff to talk about, but stuff I think that's worth talking about with the new record. The new record's called Social Cues. Just take a listen to this. We're going to play like a fair bit of it right now. Just so
sure, yeah.
On both sides of I was broken. Oh my, I'm the one trying to hide this damage done. One day, all our secrets will be spoken. As we slow dance, I became your statue frozen. Times I wondered, are we just a puff of smoke? Yeah, underneath this bed of ashes, still withholding everything like we were never close. Don't you worry, baby, no sense trying to change it. I'ma strike these matches, never had control. I'm ready to let go, no, was I fooling myself? I'ma spread these ashes, never had control. I'm ready to let go.
That's a bit of Cage the Elephant's new single, Ready to Let Go. I'm speaking with the frontman, Matt Schultz. Their new record's called Social Cues. Tell me a little bit about that song.
I guess the idea for the song was formed when I took a trip to Pompeii with my ex-wife, and I think things were kind of unraveling at that point. And I just remember also at that same time period, my cousin had passed away, who was my best friend in high school, and another one of my friends had taken his own life, and then and just some different things that had happened. And so I'm sitting there and looking at the cast of these people's physical form, where they'd been encased in ash, and it created a cast of their of themselves and these statues, and I just really remember relating to that. And I was like, geez, I feel like this person, and
You felt stuck too, like they did.
yeah,
trapped, or
yeah, definitely felt like I was harboring not necessarily a secret, but holding some things inside that made me feel frozen within the situation, and went back to the place where we were staying that night, and it stayed up and was looking. Oh, it was like it was an Airbnb overlooking the water, and just started playing and wrote the beginnings of what became the song.
there, with your ex-wife nearby, with folks nearby.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Jeez, that's not easy.
Yeah. I don't think that it's something that's readily available at the forefront of your mind when you're in it, you know? Like when you're swimming in a large body of water, you're not thinking about necessarily something that's far off or even directly. It's just kind of like immersed in it. So it didn't feel as difficult to write the material as the situation itself felt difficult.
Right, because you were in it. There was almost nothing else at the time. I understand that. Do you find it either therapeutic, or even just therapeutic is the word I'll use? Like, is it beneficial to you to write like this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever we're making a record or writing material, you're always looking for something that is, you're looking for a sincerity that first off you can believe in, and then if you can get to a sincere place, hopefully that translates to the music, and you can find something in the music that you obsess over in a good way, and surprise yourself with. So,
but is there a vulnerability? Like, is there a worry when you're listening, when you're playing it? You're worried about who might hear it.
I mean, you have those moments.
Yeah.
I think as time goes on and you continue to work at it, hopefully that voice, work at being in the creative works, hopefully that voice gets quieter and quieter, or maybe it never gets quieter, but you don't pay as much attention to it.
Right. I don't mean the worry about people criticizing your work. I mean if you're writing...
No, I mean that as well.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the idea that, I wrote this about somebody, they could hear it. You try to immerse yourself in the art of it, and hopefully that'll go away.
Yeah. Something Isaac Brock said one time. He said, if you're terrified to sing it, you're probably on the right path.
My therapist says that. Whenever it doesn't say about singing it, thank God, but when I'm in to see her, she asks me a question and I do this, she'll say, "Oh, it's going to be really good."
Yeah, there we go. I like it.
This is going to be great, whatever this is.
For sure.
I got to ask you, I'm going to break a radio rule and ask you about a music video.
Sure.
Because it's something else, man. It kind of struck me a little bit, and I have a lot of questions about it. If you haven't seen the video, it's like kind of gory. It's very intense. It's incredibly stylized. I know you directed the video, right? Mm-hmm. People are covered in blood. People are making out. They're devouring some sort of, I can't tell what it was, some sort of bloody object. I'm glad you're taking some joy in this, as watching me explain it.
Yeah.
You are. You are singing in a red latex bodysuit, but gory. I found it hard to watch at times. I had a feeling you'd be okay with me saying that.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me a little bit about why you went in that direction for this video.
I think that you're always looking for the visual personality that pairs well with the music. And for myself, I'm looking for metaphorical vehicles to tell those narratives.
So what's the blood a metaphor for?
Blood's been a strong symbol throughout, I feel, human history. Some of the words that come to mind are betrayal, redemption, love, hate. So it's pretty provoking, and it just felt natural. I think also while I was kind of trying to imagine the visuals. It was around Christmas, so there were all these nativity scenes that were around,
Yeah.
and that had a big impact on, I think, the art direction.
Why? How?
In the way that they were set up, just kind of like these nice little vignettes where we would play out pretty dramatic things. I mean, that story in itself is a pretty crazy story. So it made a lot of sense to build our story in a similar space. And then it was so funny. For you felt that it was pretty shocking for you, but you should have seen the meetings where I'm talking to the label, and I'm like, yeah, and then we're going to shave a sheep. They're like, what? Okay.
Listen, the guy in Canada thought the first draft was rough enough. I got to tell you,
Yeah.
you should leave the sheep out of this and let him hold on to his beard for a little while.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
sheep have they have another strong symbol of innocence, and so I think a lot of it was just trying to find really powerful metaphors.
But I'm trying to see the other side of the metaphor. Like, I understand what you were saying, but does it relate to the text of the song? Like, I can't help but hear this song in some ways about your divorce, in some ways about the unraveling of your personal relationship and the death of your friends and your family, and then to see you kind of bathed in blood in this video. Maybe that's what I found the most striking.
Yeah, well, the video, I guess, there are times in life where you worship the idea of being in love much more than maybe loving the person that you should be loving. And, that's to kind of be pretty transparent in some of the things that I felt that I'd failed at. And so there was guilt, a lot of guilt involved as well. And so I think that's the whole idea of gorging or feasting yourself on something that maybe should have nurtured more.
I find that art works best when you have to explain it.
Yeah, for sure.
So thanks for getting into it.
Yeah, you're good. And the two teenagers, I tried to have like this sentiment of hopefulness at the end. I don't know if that translated well.
I mean, I had passed out by then.
Yeah, exactly.
How are you feeling about having to get on stage and sing? So you let me try this again. You tell me when you write these songs about something so hard as your divorce, as the death of your cousin, as the death of your friend, and you said, like, when I'm so in it, it's not that hard to write about it, right? Like you gave the metaphor of being in the ocean. You don't see, when you're in the deep sea, you don't see the land that's very, very far away. But when you're on tour, you got a lot of stuff on your mind. You got the band on your mind. You got the physicality of the show on your mind. I don't know, you got what you're going to have for supper. You're going to have the fans, the ticket sales, the marquee, all that stuff on your mind. And you're going to have to get on stage and sing these really hard songs. Like challenging personal songs. Has that crossed your mind at all?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I think that every day brings its own adversities and troubles, and so living in the moment while you're performing the song, you don't have to necessarily relive what you've already lived, but maybe you channel what's happening in the present time to still be present in something that feels genuine and sincere. I think you owe that to the audience. But yeah, it's always been something that felt pretty healing to myself.
So as opposed to like finding it hard to relive those moments, it's actually healing.
There's sometimes there are times where it's difficult, but
Where does
I don't know how to explain it.
I mean, it's Frank Zappa said it's like dancing about architecture. But I'm interested in how you might find it healing. Is it healing because you're sharing it with other people?
Maybe. I think one of the most powerful things about music is the communal aspect of it. And there are many times where you're on stage and you are watching the audience probably way more than they know. Certainly as an audience member myself, I'm not thinking about the performer watching me. But Yeah, I don't know. I think also just revisiting those emotions and spending some time with them helps for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I need to go see my therapist and talk about that,
No,
figure out what's actually going on there.
I got a good one. We'll take you on if you're silent.
Okay, cool.
Before we let you go, and you've been very kind and open. I appreciate it. Tell me a little bit about. I heard the feature you have on this record. You have Beck on a song. I'm a very big fan, as are we all. Can you tell me a little bit about how Beck ended up on this record?
Yeah, we were both on we were on the same bill in L.A. and we had played a show together. So we had played a show, and we were invited to go back to his dressing room and say hello. And so we did, and he's a lovely human being, lovely experience. Several months later, he came through Nashville and played a show, and so I went to that show and reconnected and had another great hang. And then as we were making the record, we put together a short list of composers we wanted to do the string arrangements. And a lot of people don't know this, but Beck's father is a world-renowned composer. Mm-hmm. And so he was in our wish list, and he came back and ended up doing most of the compositions on the record as far as strings were concerned. And so I guess just Beck subconsciously was in our minds, and we were working on the song and had the chorus really happening for us, and it felt really nice, but didn't know what we were going to do as far as approach for the verse. And so Brad, my brother, we're sitting there kind of powwowing and talking about what to do, and Brad's like, I feel like Beck would know what to do.
What would Beck do?
Yeah, exactly. So we sent the track to him, and he was on tour in Asia, and I believe like within 48 hours he sent back 2 verses, and he was like, and I have 4 alternates. We're like, I think we're good. These are amazing. Yeah. An exceptional talent, no doubt. And then, and so just trying to figure out when we would perform the song together, the tour kind of came to life. So
that's amazing. Do you ever? I mean, I think about your last album. You had the Grammy for Best Rock Song. Rock album, I should say. You had the. We were talking about the top billing of all these festivals. It's obvious things are going very well. Do you ever still get a little bit? Wow, I'm back. Do you still get a bit like starstruck? Do you still get a bit?
Certainly get excited and
you haven't lost it. You haven't lost that feeling.
Yeah, for sure. No, there's every time something happens. I mean, even things that you might consider to be small when you've been in this field for a while, to me it still hits me pretty hard. I mean, this most recent single, how well it's doing right now is just blowing me away. I mean, we're 12 years in, and it's still working for whatever reason, so it's pretty cool.
Not to mention Canadian radio interviews.
Yeah, exactly.
Truly the crown jewel of any band's career.
Oh, well, I'm having a great time. So.
It's been nice to talk to you. Thanks for coming in.
Nice to talk to you as well.
Appreciate it.